next. News live at 7. Workers' issues across the country come into focus ahead of the 63rd Labor Day observance on Friday. But first, an uptick in missing persons cases has the Assistant Commissioner explaining the process and reasons behind the Marco Alert system. This is officers highlighting the critical role of information in solving these cases. Plus, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration forecasts an 85% chance of above normal hurricane activity this season, with predictions of at least 8 hurricanes. Then in Our News at 7:30, hosts the party's one-day convention. F&M Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands says his party will extend an olive branch to defeated former leader Dr. Hubert Minnis. Our News live at 7 starts right now. Knowles. Now the Free National Movement delegates have cast their votes. The spotlight shifts to defeated former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, and the question, will he throw his support behind the newly elected leadership? In a statement following his defeat, Dr. Minnis affirmed his commitment to supporting the Free National Movement, and now Party Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands expressing the party's willingness to extend an olive branch to Dr. Minnis. We'll hear more from Dr. Sands coming up in Our News at 7:30, but for now, Devin Isaacs, Matthew Tyson Brave, Kyle Carey. These are just a few of the teams who have been the focus of Marco Alerts in the past 12 months. The recent flurry of alerts sparking questions. Who were they intended for? What criteria triggers their issuance? Joshua Williams gets us started as he delves into these inquiries and more.
It's a sound many of us have grown accustomed to hearing. A Marco Alert is an attention-grabbing notification on cell phones, signifying that a minor has been reported missing. It includes their name, age, description, and where they were last seen. Assistant Commissioner of Police responsible for Information and Technology, Shivago Dames, says these alerts are sent out after an official report is filed with police.
The station officers definitely will take that report, and they will in turn communicate with our Central Detective Unit, who takes that report now and work that report to ensure that that child is indeed missing.
Some have criticized the time it takes to release these alerts. As Dames explains, there's a reason for it.
And that is because we are trying to ensure that that child is indeed missing. We don't want to disseminate or issue a Marco's alert and we discover that the child actually was at a parent or the child was at some friend.
When reporting a missing child, Superintendent Nathaniel Gilbert, who is responsible for the Missing and Exploited Persons Division, says information is important.
We need you to have a recent photo on hand of that child, that young person, relevant information about their age, their date of birth, their height, their complexion. We need to know their friends.
And with so many persons still missing, such as persons like Kyle Carey and Rochelle de Woodside, officers say they have not forgotten them.
They are still ongoing. We are using some of the latest technology to assist us. Technology is the driving force behind those investigations.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
A 30-year-old accused killer telling a magistrate he's innocent. Shaquille Stirrup is accused of the May 23rd murder of Devantino Brown, who, according to police, was ambushed by a gunman soon after he arrived home in Grays Terrace off Bernard Road. Chief Magistrate Roberto Reckley told Stirrup he didn't have to enter a plea to the murder charge. Nevertheless, Stirrup said although he was in the area, he didn't kill anyone, further claiming the killing was caught on camera. Reckley told Stirrup he didn't have the authority to grant bail and remanded him to prison. Stirrup is expected back in court on August 29th to be indicted. And as the 63rd annual Labor Day parade approaches, some labor leaders over in Grand Bahama, they are sharing their concerns tonight, claiming workers are being put at a disadvantage, and they're calling on government to intervene, saying workers deserve more. Talia Hall reports.
Pay, negotiations, casual workers, contract workers, incentive, reclassification.
These labor leaders are sharing some of the issues they say are still affecting workers across the country. President of the Bahamas Educators, Counselors, and Allied Workers Union, Sandra Major, acknowledges the government's efforts with signing several industrial agreements, but she says it's also their job to follow up on what has been agreed upon by both parties.
So the teacher who just retired, why is it taking them so long to get the gratuity? It should not be that way. It is that they have worked and they're now waiting. It's not right.
As it relates to confirmation letters,
There are people who are waiting for confirmation to get a confirmation letter for years.
Area Vice President of the Bahamas Communications and Public Officers Union, Charles Ellis, says some contracts with the union have not been signed.
And our staff have worked tediously. Some persons are doing 2 and 3 jobs and are not being paid for what they've been doing. Every time you go to the table, it's a pushback, a pushback, a pushback. We've now asked the minister to help intervene on our behalf.
Unionist Julian Doyle Russell claims on some construction sites in Grand Bahama, it appears more foreigners are being employed rather than Grand Bahamians.
The disparity between foreign workers and Bahamian workers is outrageous, and I will be calling on you people, like my shows here said, to come out and show yourself on Labor Day, because a person like Sir Lyndon said, who does not think that they should die for something, don't have a right to it.
And with Labor Day set to be celebrated on Friday, June 7th, Ellis says she hopes that these concerns are not only addressed temporarily, but permanently.
We like patch up. We're not talking about patch up situations. We're talking about permanent fix for a lifetime.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Natalia Hall.
Thanks, Natalia. We are already 3 days into the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season, and already the predictions are looking less than favorable. Just how alarming? Well, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration predicts an 85% chance of above normal hurricane activity this year. NOAA forecasts 17 to 25 total named storms with winds of 39 miles per hour or higher. 8 to 13 expected to spiral into hurricanes, and 4 to 7 of those might turn into major hurricanes category 3, 4, or 5, with winds reaching 111 miles per hour or higher. Near record warm ocean temperatures in the Atlantic are expected to fuel more powerful storms. The weather temperatures across the tropical Atlantic in 2024 on average are about 1.5 to 2 degrees Fahrenheit. That's said to be warmer than normal. To put all of this into perspective for us now, it's time for your first look at temperatures with meteorologist Greg Thompson. And Greg, obviously those numbers, we've been looking forward to them, but to see it, gosh, yeah.
This forecast for this season,
Sure.
they've never, ever recorded, forecasted, these kinds of numbers. So if that's an indication of what we expect for the hurricane season, it is time to get prepared, because it is expected to be a well above average hurricane season. And you
Absolutely.
just rehashed those numbers.
Yeah.
The National Hurricane Center, the governing body in this part of the globe, have already put out their numbers, as well as Colorado states, and all are indicating this is supposed to be expected to be above hurricane season. Once again, named storms 17 to 25, hurricanes 8 to 13, major hurricanes 4 to 7. You only need one hurricane to spoil your season, so get ready. And of course, you mentioned 85% of chance. This is expected to be an above average season. So once again, make sure you prepare for the upcoming hurricane season and do all your preparations right now. 82 degrees outside our studios right now. It's a little cooler than it was for the last couple of days. We do have a little bit of a dry air mass moving across us. East-northeast winds at 10 miles per hour, and you feel slight temperature. Well, it's still up there near the 90-degree mark. Temperatures around the islands right now, it's 81 in Freeport, as well as in Marsh Harbor, Abaco, over in Governors Harbor. We pick up 83s, Alistown, Bimini, Andros, the Big Yard. You guys have some showers nearby. Just a couple isolated showers near the New Providence area, 82 there, and in Great Harbor Key. Central Bahamas, 81, Kemps Bay, Arthurstown, Cat Island. Well, actually, all across the Central Bahamas. Georgetown, you guys are seeing some showers nearby, and into the Southeast Bahamas. 84 in Duncantown, Ragged Island, 83 Colonel Hill, Crooked Island, Delectable Bay, 81, as well as in Abrahams Bay. Providenciales, the Turks and Caicos Islands, you guys are 82, and deep south in Nagua, you are 82 at this hour with some isolated showers nearby. Looking at our satellite and radar composite, an upper level trough, persistent across the central and southeast Bahamas, still bringing a lot of moisture across that area. Dry air mass across the northwest Bahamas, but we are still seeing some pop-up showers across the New Providence area, Andros, as well as Eleuthera. most of the activity in the southeast and central Bahamas. All of that will be moving out into the Atlantic as this upper level trough and the moisture plume continues to pull away from us through the remainder of the week. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Thanks, Greg. And still to come on our news, ease of doing business. How the Revenue Enhancement Task Force is championing compliance and legitimacy for local entrepreneurs. Plus, food security and sustainability on the Family Islands comes into focus tonight as Cat Island gets a new tractor and a patrol boat. And the $1 million pledge from Disney as it unveils ambitious plans for Eleuthera conservation and community development. The story when Our News returns.
A whole new season of Goombay Kids is coming soon. The kids find themselves on more exciting
I wanna love you till I had enough. Do you want me now or later, 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 later? Listen to it all.
This is 242 The Gospel, where we celebrate our Bahamian artists. You've been asking for more and they're here to deliver. Welcome to the second season of 242 The Gospel. Who will be number one? Let's find out. This is 242 The Gospel, where we celebrate our Bahamian artists. You've been asking for more and they're here to deliver. Welcome to the second season of 242 The Gospel. Who will be number one? Let's find out.
Officials of the Revenue Enhancement Task Force say they are on a mission to streamline the process for local business owners to ensure compliance and legitimacy. Led by Chairman Bertram Boleg, the task force has been actively engaging with entrepreneurs across the Family Islands and now has sights set on New Providence. Boleg says their goal is to empower businesses to effortlessly navigate the regulatory landscape, crossing every T and dotting every I.
What we're trying to do is make sure that they are operating legitimately. And then we have the NIB here to make sure persons know what their contribution is, if they are paying, get themselves together, make sure that they know that, hey, you have to pay your NIB. As a self-employed, you have to pay for your employees, because what we've been doing this exercise, we've been discovering that people are not paying their NIB contribution. And we have the custom department, and persons are not paying their duties for the customs department, and then they discovered that they cannot get their TCC or the business license.
Now, the forum is scheduled to run for the entire week, and the task force is operating from two sites, Courtesy House on Carmichael Road and another at the Mall at Marathon. John Williams is Communications Director at the Department of Inland Revenue. He highlights some compliance issues among businesses.
Just because you have a pretty flyer or Instagram page does not mean that you are compliant or you're an actual business. We want persons to understand that there is a process. You have to get an approved name. You have to get approvals from Physical Planning, Ministry of Works, Environmental Health, depending on with the nature of your business. So we want persons to understand that process, go through that process so that they can be legitimized.
And now to Cat Island, where Prime Minister Philip Davis emphasized the importance of farming, despite the notion it has been demonized. His remarks were delivered during his keynote address at a handover ceremony for a state-of-the-art tractor and patrol boat for the island. He stressed the necessity for Bahamians to engage in farming for self-sufficiency. Prime Minister urging Cat Islanders to reconnect with their agricultural heritage.
And that's why we are paying some attention to the schools and trying to get them to sensitize our children that, look, farming, you can make a living out of this, and it's not a bad thing. And when you're doing it, you're helping the country. And when you have another 9/11, for example, you don't got to worry about no food because you're growing it yourself.
And Davis assuring residents of his commitment to providing the necessary resources to integrate farming as a vital aspect of their lives, ensuring Cat Islanders can sustain themselves through agriculture. Additionally, he pledged to facilitate the sale of locally grown produce.
I'm about to be working on the concept now that we're going to increase what farmers could get from the packing houses. We can't limit it. So if you grow 10,000 watermelons, we can pay for it and we can get it to market somehow.
And still on Family Islands, $1 million being pledged for conservation, economic empowerment, cultural preservation, and community development on Eleuthera. President of Disney Signature Experiences, Thomas Mazalum, made the announcement during the recent opening of Disney's Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point. Mazalum emphasized the commitment reflects Disney's dedication to both environmental stewardship and community support.
$250,000 in Disney conservation funding to create conservation-focused after-school programming for students in Central and South Eleuthera. There's more news to come because we are investing more than $700,000 to improve school infrastructure such as playgrounds and sports fields for students right here in Eleuthera.
But it doesn't stop there. Disney reps have also invested over $1 million to fund the Eleuthera Business Hub and its programs,
which includes grants to more than 40 local small businesses. We're proud that we made significant contributions to the Eleuthera Junior Achievement Program. In fact, we've established a leading light program with the University of the Bahamas, and think about this, providing free hospitality and job readiness training for the residents of Eleuthera.
When our news comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world as the United States calls for a ceasefire in Gaza. Plus, Mexico elects its first woman president. And Gary Conille arrives in Haiti to take up his post as prime minister. The story when our news returns.
I wanna love you till I had enough. Do you want me now or later, 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 later? Listen to it all.
This is 242 The Gospel, where we celebrate our Bahamian artists. You've been asking for more and they're here to deliver. Welcome to the second season of 242 The Gospel. Who will be number one? Let's find out. This is 242 The Gospel, where we celebrate our Bahamian artists. You've been asking for more and they're here to deliver. Welcome to the second season of 242 The Gospel. Who will be number one? Let's find out.
This is our news. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. United States President Joe Biden has called for a ceasefire in Gaza. His proposal has placed Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at a critical juncture. The offer to end Israel's war with Hamas, release hostages, and advance peace with Saudi Arabia presents both opportunities and peril for Netanyahu. Analysts say accepting the deal could dismantle his coalition and leave him vulnerable in his corruption trial, while rejecting it risks further isolating Israel internationally and straining ties with the United States. Mexico's newly elected president, Claudia Sheinbaum, extended an olive branch to the over one-third of Mexicans who did not vote for her. As the first woman to win the presidency, she faces the challenge of uniting a country deeply divided by outgoing President Andrés Manuel López Obrador. Despite widespread discontent with cartel violence and economic issues, the new president vowed to continue her predecessor's populist policies, promising to serve all Mexicans. She's got 4 months until she takes office, and her leadership will be crucial in restoring national unity. And Gary Conille arrived in Haiti on Saturday to assume his new role as prime minister. Conille was named by a transitional council aiming to facilitate upcoming elections, replacing interim prime minister Michel Patrick Boisvert. Upon arrival in Port-au-Prince, Conille met with Boisvert, according to a government statement. Conille, who has served as UNICEF's regional director for Latin America and the Caribbean since January last year, previously held the position of Haiti's prime minister from October 2011 to May 2012 under President Michel Martelly. As Conille takes office, Haiti continues to grapple with escalating gang violence in its capital and other areas of the country, also awaiting the United Nations-backed deployment of a police force from Kenya and other nations to help restore order. Still to come in our news, today in history, find out interesting facts about the day that was June 3rd. Then in our news at 7:30, an off-duty officer saves a man attempting suicide on PI Bridge amid an uptick in cases. Plus, police one step closer to finding 16-year-old Devin Isaacs. When our news returns.
Love you till I had enough. Do you want me now or later, 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 later? Listen to it
This is 242 The Gospel, where we celebrate our Bahamian artists. You've been asking for more, and they're here to deliver. Welcome to the second season of 242 The Gospel. Who will be number one? Let's find out. This is 242 The Gospel, where we celebrate our Bahamian artists. You've been asking for more, and they're here to deliver. Welcome to the second season of 242 The Gospel. Who will be number one? Let's find out.
Welcome back to our news. A Bahamian made history at Brooklyn College this year, becoming the first Black female valedictorian in the university's history. Rima Mills has roots in both New Providence and Abaco and is an alumna of Queens College. Mills says she was shocked to find out she's the first, as the university is only 6 years shy of being 100 years old.
I didn't find out that I was the first Black woman maybe in a week and a half before graduation, because I had asked, I'm like, hey, what's the statistics on that? Is that a list I can check? And so when they told me, I keep saying it's so symbolic that I was getting my braids done, that I was the first Black woman. And I'm sitting here in the salon chair and somebody's like pulling my head back and I'm like, hold on, something is happening right now. And I sent it to all my friends and I sent to my mom, and I'm just like, can you believe in almost 100 years that I am the first Black woman?
And having majored in health and nutrition sciences along with her health journey, Mills says she's deeply invested in the public health system and says diversity and representation goes deeper than what meets the eye.
when we talk about diversity and inclusion and equity, and this is something that I'm really passionate about as somebody going into public health, those are the kind of things that make people healthy and things that make them unhealthy. And seeing at it, we've been talking so much about how representation matters, and it's so easy to say that and then not do it. And so for me, it quickly became less about my own undergraduate achievement. This is a pretty big deal for me. It looks great on my resume. But aside from that, I soon understood how important this was for other women of color out there, and they all were in the crowd and they cheered for me. And when I heard those cheers, I was like, this isn't just about me. This is about us.
All right, just wow, what an achievement. And congratulations to Rima on behalf of the entire team here at Our News. And speaking of making history, it's time now to turn our spotlight on events that shaped the day that was June 3rd. On this day in Bahamian history in 1964 was a significant turning point for the Bahama Islands as Ralph Francis Alnwick Gray took office as governor. Gray's tenure extended until 1968, a period that saw transformative changes for the colony. Gray's leadership was pivotal, culminating in the historic achievement of majority rule on January 10, 1967. This landmark event signaled a new era of governance and social progress for the Bahamian people, who gained greater control over their own affairs. Simultaneously, Gray served as governor of the Turks and Caicos Islands, showcasing his broad influence and commitment to the region. His career also saw him hold the distinguished post of the last governor of Northern Ireland. Gray died on October 17, 1999, in England. All right, to watch that historical recap again and for all of today's top stories, remember you can visit ournews.bs and of course Our News Bahamas on Facebook. That's going to do it for us in News at 7. Joining us now with the latest headlines is our Marlena Leonard. Marlena, happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
It's a short work week. We got 3 more days till Friday, till Labor Day.
Which I will also be on the desk for.
Sorry for the reminder.
But I'm happy you'll be able to have fun. That's the important thing, hey?
Absolutely, especially after this long convention weekend.
Yes, that's true. That's only
so
fair.
Happy to be able to have Labor Day off. But hey, you'll be on the desk.
Amazing.
I'll be right here rooting for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, in tonight's headlines, an off-duty officer saves a man attempting suicide. Plus, police one step closer to finding 16-year-old Devin Isaacs. Here are your latest headlines. Tonight on Our News. Have a plan in place this hurricane season? First tonight at 7:30, why you may want to consider hurricane-proofing your homes and businesses early in the season. But first, re-elected F&M Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands promises to extend an olive branch to former F&M leader Dr. Hubert Minnis after his defeat at Saturday's convention. And we'll tell you the story of the off-duty officer who saved a man attempting suicide. Plus, workers on Grand Bahama about to hit the street this Friday for the annual Labor Day observance. Our News Live at 7:30 is back in a moment.
Well, what you doing here?
I dig in the well to connect to the house of building for me and Mavis.
Why you just don't call water and sewage?
Call them for what?
To get your city water. You don't have to worry about your water cutting off when the power cut off. And your water's clean and safe, free from coliform bacteria.
Cauliflower what?
Call us at 302-5500 to make the switch from well water to city water for a more fresh, reliable water supply for you and your family.
Energy conservation is the decision and practice of using less energy. Energy efficiency means using less energy to perform the same task. Turning off lights when you leave a room. Unplugging appliances not in use. People conserve to gain more control over their energy bill and to reduce demand on the Earth's natural resources. Bahamas Power and Light Company Limited looks forward to helping our customers eliminate wasted energy. Take this journey with us as we build for better. BPL.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price, and you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you. at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
At the gateway to the Americas, on the picturesque island of Grand Bahama, a pioneering initiative is taking shape. Lucaya Solar Power Limited presents the $15 million Lucaya Solar Power Project, the first of its kind in the Bahamas' energy landscape. The state-of-the-art solar farm on the Fairfield and Devon sites spans just over 30 acres, and once completed, will harness the power of the sun to generate over 9.
Welcome to Our News, and thanks for joining us. I'm Marlena Leonard. Now that delegates have voted, the question remains, will former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis get behind the newly elected leadership? Since Pintard was elected leader back in 2021, he's faced pushback from a faction within the party supporting Dr. Minnis. After his defeat, in a statement, Dr. Minnis said he intends to continue to support the Free National Movement. After the win, Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands said the party will offer him the olive branch.
It has never been us that has had a challenge with unity. And, but this is not about holding grudges. This is about healing. This is about moving forward. This is not about me or Michael Pintard. This is about the people of the Bahamas who we seek to serve.
Dr. Minnis was noticeably absent Saturday night along with his supporters. Dr. Sands says he believes the FNM is now on a clear path to winning the next general election, adding to his belief that Prime Minister Philip Davis and the PLP are dangerous for the Bahamas.
They are not good for the Bahamas. They are not good for this country. They're good for PLPs and maybe only a select group of PLPs. And people want a real alternative. They would like to see a Bahamas in which their aspirations can be realized. They want to see a Bahamas where their dreams can be fulfilled. They want to see a Bahamas where they can participate in the economy, not just a select group. They would like to see fairness and transparency.
Well, in recent weeks, there's been an uptick in attempted suicides. One of the most recent was just last week at the Sydney-Poitiers Bridge. That's when an off-duty officer saved a man who was considering taking his own life. And as he tells us in this report, he was in the right place at the right time. On Tuesday, May 28th, off-duty Sergeant Kendall Campbell was traveling on Sir Sidney Poitier Bridge to drop off a report at the Paradise Island Police Station where he's assigned. That's when he noticed a man who looked visibly distressed sitting on the bridge's guardrails.
I jumped over the barrier, grabbed him, placed him down on the floor, and I guess I try to calm him down, what's the reason?
It was the man's cries of despair that touched Officer Campbell, making it more important than ever to save his life. Campbell was emotional, sharing he too has faced challenges that left him feeling hopeless.
Kind of raised a red flag with my situation because I had stage 4 cancer 2-3 years ago, and I was at the point where I was, and I never told my family this, where I still wanted to give up, and just, it was too much. I couldn't take it, I couldn't bear it, I couldn't deal with it. But it was the fact that I had faith for my son, and I want to live, and I want to see him grow up.
This remarkable display of courage and compassion serves as a reminder of the selflessness that defines our bravest men and women in uniform.
You can never prepare for it. You can never prepare for situations. When you join the job, you can never prepare for anything. You have to always adapt to any situation that life throws at you. And I think that was a natural instinct to, grab him and subdue him. And like I say, our main goal is the protection of life and property.
A real hero. Thank goodness he was there. And speaking of heroes, take a look at this video showing a daring rescue of 2 boaters on a disabled boat drifting in choppy waters off of Samana Key. The rescue mission was carried out on May 20th by the United States Coast Guard. They were alerted by the Royal Bahamas Defense Force that the men did not return to port and were last seen leaving Samana Key on May 15th aboard their 18-foot boat. The boaters were found by U.S. Coast Guard air crews from Miami and Clearwater, Florida, 55 miles from land. A Jayhawk helicopter from Operation Bahamas Turks and Caicos also responded to the scene, but couldn't communicate with the missing boaters. That's when a rescue swimmer was deployed, and the 2 men were hoisted onto the chopper and transported to Spring Point Airport in Acklins. And police are perhaps one step closer to finding 16-year-old Devin Isaacs. It's a story that's grabbed headlines nationwide as flyers were sent out, interviews were done with his mother, and a Marco alert was sent out as well. Devin was last seen May 15th at his home off Carmichael Road, and since then, police have been closely tracking his whereabouts with CCTV. Last week, Police Commissioner Clayton Fernando revealed that police were questioning a man seen with Devin in the footage. Today, Press Liaison Officer Chief Superintendent Chrislyn Skipping says they've received new footage they're now following.
We're still utilizing surveillance that is providing us with some intelligence. And so hopefully later on today we're going to meet with the parents of Devin Isaacs and provide them, I should say, with the update as to where we are with the investigations. Once we have updated them and there's a dialogue, we will come back to the press with any additional information that we can give to you.
The Department of Social Services also providing an update on Matthew Tyson Brave, the young boy reported missing in Eleuthera. You may recall Brave was found by officers, attempted to flee, but was captured. At last update, Matthew was taken to the local clinic to be examined. Assistant Director in the Department of Social Services, Deidre Hepburn, says they looked into the situation and Matthew has returned home.
I've been advised that he is presently with family members who the department has deemed the home to be safe. He is in school and is presently preparing for examinations.
The 2024 Atlantic hurricane season started over the weekend, and with an above-normal season predicted, it's time to start thinking about how you can prepare. The 2024 Atlantic hurricane season is upon us, and with America's National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration predicting an 85% chance of an above-normal season, with between 17 to 25 named storms and up to 7 of them being major hurricanes, it's especially important this year to not wait until the last minute to get prepared. You don't have to prepare overnight, but you can begin by making a list of your needed supplies and purchase them week to week. Things like enough non-perishable food and water for each person for 3 to 7 days, a battery-operated radio and clock, and cash. It's also vital to know where your nearest shelter is. Even if you think your home is sound, plan where your backup location would be. Whether it's a public shelter or the home of a nearby friend or family member, do not wait until you need to evacuate to figure out where that would be. Keep a go bag with important documents sealed in a water-safe holder, some water, non-perishable snacks, cash, and medications you may need. And last but not least, you also need a storm plan for your pets. If you haven't already, have your pet microchipped so you can be reunited if you're separated in a storm. And plan with your network to see if someone would be willing to take in your animals should you need to evacuate. And speaking of hurricane season, we had a week of high temperatures on land and sea last week. Hopefully those water temperatures can cool down over the next few days. But meteorologist Greg Thompson is in the Weather Center with your first look at weather. Greg, how are we looking?
Water's not going to be cooling down anytime soon. That's one of the reasons why we've been having the very warm temperatures. We also have a heat dome that's starting to build across us from the Gulf of Mexico, and that's going to be bringing us some more record heat over the next couple of days. So we're asking you to continue to monitor this. And of course, drink lots of liquids, water, and try to take lots of breaks on the outside. Of course, those images with the hurricane preparation, they are well needed. So above average season expected, and can't stress to get ready. 81 degrees outside. It's not as warm as we had for the last couple of days. Mostly clear skies, east-northeast winds, 10 miles per hour, but the feels like temperature still in the 80s, 87 degrees is what it feels like on the outside. Satellite radar composite showing upper level trough, bringing still moisture across the central and southeast Bahamas. Showers and thunderstorms mainly across that area. We did have a couple of spotty showers across the northwest Bahamas, a dry air mass in place, but all of this will continue to pull out towards the east and we will see some dry air mass moving across us. So warm temperatures expected for the remainder of the week. Once again, make sure you drink lots of liquids and take frequent breaks. That's a quick check on conditions around the island. Stick with us to look at your extended forecast is still to come.
And still to come, we'll tell you about the $10,000 donation the local Red Cross received from Colina to assist in its preparations for this year's Atlantic hurricane season. But first, a hotel executive says bookings have taken a hit due to security concerns after travel advisories warned against Bahamian violence earlier in the year. And plans are underway for Grand Bahama's Labor Day Parade celebrations. We're speaking to the organizers. That's coming up when Our News returns.
I wanna love you till I had enough. Do you want me now or later, 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 later? Listen to it all.
This is 242 The Gospel, where we celebrate our Bahamian artists. You've been asking for more, and they're here to deliver. Welcome to the second season of 242 The Gospel. Who will be number one? Let's find out. This is 242 The Gospel, where we celebrate our Bahamian artists. You've been asking for more, and they're here to deliver. Welcome to the second season of 242 The Gospel. Who will be number one? Let's find out.
I wanna love you till I had enough. Do you want me now or later, 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 later? Listen to it all.
Hotel bookings have declined. This, months after travel advisories issued earlier this year warned potential visitors about an increase in violent crime in the country. Now, resort executives like Graham Davis, president of Bahama, are taking notice, saying statistics show hotel bookings have declined.
While maybe the press has died down, there is still questions in travelers' minds, and we get that from travel agents. We get those questions. And I think it's important that we stay vigilant in protecting our community, in creating a safe environment for our community, which creates a safe environment for every visitor as well.
The Bahamas Red Cross received a $10,000 donation from Colina Insurance Limited today, aiming to assist the organization in their preparations for this year's Atlantic hurricane season, which officially began on Saturday. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration predicts an 85% chance of above normal hurricane activity in 2024. NOAA forecasts 17 to 25 total named storms with winds of 39 miles per hour or higher. Bahamas Red Cross President Edison Sumner addressing Colina Insurance employees after a Red Cross presentation on hurricane preparedness and Colina's donation presentation.
In times of crisis, the true measure of a community is not merely in the challenges we face, but it's also in how we come together to support each other in the time of need. Today, Colina Insurance Company has demonstrated its unwavering commitment to the well-being of our people and our nation. This donation will be a lifeline, and believe that this donation will be a lifeline to those affected not only by disasters, but also for those who are sick and who are considered to be the most vulnerable in our communities.
Sumner says the donation will enable the Bahamas Red Cross to impact lives not only in New Providence, but in the Family Islands as well.
It will enable us to provide critical care, emergency services, and hope for those who are in need of it the most. The impact of your generosity will ripple across the islands of the Bahamas, and I'm aware that we've got some colleagues joining us from different islands as well. But it will create ripple effects throughout our communities, touching lives and strengthening the fabric of our communities in ways that will be felt for years to come.
It's now time for tonight's Financial Market Minute, brought to you by RF, your local investment bank. This has been your Financial Market Minute. To explore the best performing mutual funds in the Bahamas, visit our website at www.rfgroup.com.
When Our News comes back from the break, preparations are underway for the annual Labor Day celebrations in New Providence, and we'll show you how Grand Bahamians are preparing for their own parade.
Coming up in sports, Bahamas basketball has an intense tune-up ahead of the Olympic qualifiers, and we recap the National High School Soccer Championships.
We've had some wind and rain over the weekend, but what does this week hold? We have the latest from Greg when Our News returns.
I wanna love you till I had enough. Do you want me now or later, 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 later? Listen to it all.
This is 242 The Gospel, where we celebrate our Bahamian artists. You've been asking for more, and they're here to deliver. Welcome to the second season of 242 The Gospel. Who will be number one? Let's find out. This is 242 The Gospel, where we celebrate our Bahamian artists. You've been asking for more, and they're here to deliver. Welcome to the second season of 242 The Gospel. Who will be number one? Let's find out.
I wanna love you till I had enough. Do you want me now or later, 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 later? Listen to it all.
This is Our News. Welcome back. Our senior men's national basketball team will have a tough test before they head to the final Olympic qualifying tournament this summer. Here now with Our Sports, presented by 10th year seniors, is Ronaldo Dorset and John Marknett. Ronaldo?
Thanks, Marlena, and welcome to Our Sports, presented by 10th year seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. That's John Marknett. Let's do show. Bahamas basketball is preparing to take on the world in their bid for the Paris Olympics. What better way to prepare than to face a former league MVP and some of the top teams in the world? In preparation for the final Olympic qualifying tournament in July, Team Bahamas will be heading to Greece to play in the Acropolis tournament. The Bahamas will face Greece and Montenegro in a series of friendlies June 25th to 27th. The Bahamas will face Montenegro first on June 26th. Ranked number 17 in the world, Montenegro is led by Chicago Bulls veteran center Nikola Vucevic. On June 27th, the Bahamas will face Giannis Antetokounmpo and the 14th ranked host, Greece. Following the tournament, the Bahamas heads to Spain for the Olympic qualifier, where they will take on Poland and Finland. The winner of the group will advance to the Olympic tournament in Group A alongside Australia and Canada.
Bahamian athletes continue their road to Paris as the outdoor seasons progress. Shaquem Hall-Smith just missed an Olympic qualification in the 400-meter hurdles at the Edwin Moses Legends Meet in Atlanta, Georgia. Hall-Smith finished first in a new personal best of 48.79 seconds, just short of the 48.70 seconds he'll need to book that ticket to Paris. Also at the meet, Alonzo Russell finished fourth in the 400 meters in 46.14 seconds. Several Bahamians also competed at the Racers Grand Prix in Kingston, Jamaica. Devin Charlton headlined the group with a first place finish in the 100-meter hurdles in 12.64 seconds. In the high jump, Donald Thomas finished fifth at 2.15 meters and Sean Miller Jr. finished seventh at 2.1 meters. Kaiwan Calmer finished fourth in the triple jump at 15.91 meters. In the long jump, LaCroix Nairn finished with a jump of 7.31 meters.
The Samuel P. Haven Jr. National High School Soccer Championships concluded over the weekend with two new champions crowned. In the boys' final, Windsor School won its first national title in school history in thrilling fashion when they defeated the Anatole Rogers T-Wolves 4-2 in penalties. In the girls' final, the Liferkey International School Lady Dragons hoisted the trophy after a 7-0 win over the St. Andrews Hurricanes. In the third place games, Liferkey defeated Lucaya International 3-2 in the boys' division, and on the girls' side, the C.R. Walker Knights defeated Bishop Michael Eldon 2-0.
Ron Charlton competed against the top HBCU prospects in America and walked away with a title. The Florida Memorial Lions Jr. won the fastest man competition at the Minority Baseball Prospects HBCU All-Star Game in Houston, Texas. Charlton finished ahead of the group, which featured a race between the prospects with the fastest 60-yard times in the field. When play hit the diamond, Charlton's team Michael Bourne defeated team Carl Crawford 8-6. For the Lions, Charlton became an everyday starter this season and hit .277 with 39 hits, 25 RBI, 41 runs, and 35 stolen bases. On the defensive side, he's been a standout at center field, routinely coming up with run-saving acrobatic catches.
Jonquel Jones and the New York Liberty got the WNBA's Commissioner Cup going with a huge win over the Indiana Fever. Jones finished with a double-double, 18 points and 13 boards, while shooting 73% from the field in New York's 104-68 win in front of a sellout crowd at the Barclays Center. At 7-2, the Liberty are tied for the team's best record through 9 games in franchise history. It was also their 9th straight win against the Fever. That'll do it for our sport. This is 10th year seniors. John, are you looking forward to Bahamas basketball playing Giannis?
Opa.
Back to the studio.
Still ahead on Our News tonight, organizers in Grand Bahama are making sure no worker is left behind in their Labor Day parade plans. We've got the story coming up. And we had some sun and rain this weekend, but will the break from the heat continue this week? Greg is back with more weather details right after this quick break. That's coming.
Well, what you doing here?
I dig in the well to connect to the house of Billy for me and Mavis.
Why you just don't call water and sewage?
Call them for what?
To get your city water. You don't have to worry about your water cutting off and the power cut off. And your water's clean and safe, free from coliform bacteria.
Cauliflower what?
Call us at 302-5500 to make the switch from well water to city water for a more fresh, reliable water supply for you and your family.
Energy conservation is the decision and practice of using less energy. Energy efficiency means using less energy to perform the same task. Turning off lights when you leave a room. Unplugging appliances not in use. People conserve to gain more control over their energy bill and to reduce demand on the Earth's natural resources. Bahamas Power and Light Company Limited looks forward to helping our customers eliminate wasted energy. Take this journey with us as we build for better. BPL.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price, and you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you. at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
At the gateway to the Americas, on the picturesque island of Grand Bahama, a pioneering initiative is taking shape. Lucaya Solar Power Limited presents the $15 million Lucaya Solar Power Project, the first of its kind in the Bahamas' energy landscape. The state-of-the-art solar farm on the Fairfield and Devon sites spans just over 30 acres, and once completed, will harness the power of the sun to generate over 9.5 megawatts of clean, sustainable energy. The Lucaya Solar Project is a pivotal step towards diversifying the country's energy sources and significantly reducing dependency on fossil fuels. It's more than just a project. It's a commitment to a greener, more sustainable future. Lucaya Solar Power Limited, powered by INTI, powering your world, powering your future.
Welcome back to Our News. Laborers from across the country will come together on Friday for the Sir Randall Fox Labor Day Parade. The theme, No Worker Left Behind. Over in Grand Bahama, organizers are preparing for the annual parade. The parade is expected to begin at 8 a.m. at the vacant parking lot across the street from the Pro-Cathedral of Christ the King on Pioneers Way. President of the Bahamas Educators, Counselors and Allied Workers Union and Chair of the Grand Bahama Labor Day Parade, Sandra Major, says the march will end at the Independence Park.
We invite you all to come and join us. Remember, it's about the workers. Your right to speak, your right to have a voice in this country.
Area Vice President of the Bahamas Communications and Public Officers Union and co-chair of the Labor Day Parade, Charles Ellis, encourages Bahamians to come out and participate.
Have a say about the things that's going on in your area, on your job. Be able to bring forth some resolutions to some problems that we've been fighting for a long time, so that we can come together and make this Bahamas, take back this Bahamas as our own.
We've got warm weather outside of our studios this evening, but what can we expect as we start trying to plan out our upcoming holiday weekend? Greg is back in the Weather Center with your extended forecast. Greg?
Yeah, thanks again, Marlene. Welcome back, everybody. Yeah, we expect some warm weather for the remainder of the week. Spotty shower here and there. Most of the activity will stay in the far southeastern and central Bahamas as that persistent upper level trough continues to generate some showers down there. Most of the activity, like I said, is pulling into the open Atlantic. But we're going to continue to see that moisture train moving out of the southwestern Caribbean across the area over the next couple of days. In the meantime, high pressure is going to dominate to the north of us. That's going to give us a light easterly flow, and it's looking pretty good on the waters. The exception for the next 24 hours will be some lingering swells along the Atlantic exposures. In the tropics, we are not really concerned about any activity out there. We have a couple of tropical waves moving across the tropical belt. You see a very strong tropical wave approaching the west coast of Africa. Most of the activity moving across the tropical belt, really not organized at this time. That blob that we had in the southwestern Caribbean Sea, that's basically falling apart. Most of the activity now moving into the Pacific. But of course, that upper level train of moisture moving across the Bahamas will continue, and high pressure will continue to keep most of the activity across the central and southeastern Bahamas over the next couple of days. So looking pretty good for the remainder of the week, rainfall wise, but the temperatures will be taking a bit of an uptick. So we are asking you to exercise caution out there, drink lots of water, and of course take frequent breaks if you plan on doing anything on the outdoors. Taking a look at our future forecasts, most of the activity in the open Atlantic once again associated with that upper level trough, and that will continue through Tuesday. A couple of lingering showers across the central Bahamas, but by Tuesday into Wednesday, the activity will be well to the east of us. High pressure will dominate our weather over the next several days and basically into the remainder of the week. A very weak front expected by the end of the week, but I don't think that's going to really be coming through our area. Boating, small craft caution, mainly for the Atlantic exposures. Winds will be northeast to east 10 to 15 knots east, 2 to 4 feet, but slightly higher along the Atlantic exposures and some lingering swells. Tide is presently high, will be low at 41 minutes past midnight. Your next high tide will be at 6:28 tomorrow morning. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In the extended forecast, beautiful weather expected, off and on showers. We have a little bit of an increase on Wednesday, but temperatures will stay in the upper 80s to near the 90-degree mark. But by the end of the week, we expect those temperatures to get back near the 90 and possibly even into the upper 90s. And we could see some heat indices expected in the low triple digits, possibly into the mid triple digits. And of course, Friday being a holiday, it's looking pretty good on the holiday, so it's good to get out there and drink lots of water once again. Stay in the shade. Let's look at our weather. Back to you.
Thanks, Craig, and thank you for joining us for Our News Tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Marlena Leonard. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great evening.